Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. This is Marilyn Gale. I know you guys have heard about that Alabama abortion law, and the law has been signed that if a doctor would perform abortions, they can face up to 99 years in prison. The law goes into effect in 6 months and is expected to be challenged in court. Now, patients were calling and saying, for instance, I just had my appointment made my appointment yesterday. What do you mean I can't come back and have my abortion on Friday? Referring to the restriction that requires women in Alabama to wait 48 hours before getting an abortion. The phones has been ringing and ringing at the Planned Parenthood Southeast, which covers Alabama, Georgia, and Mississippi. Now, this is my issue with banning abortions. It will not stop abortions. Before abortions were legal, the laws didn't stop abortions. Will women go to back alley quack abortions? Many women lost their life. Women and girls lost their life getting abortions from quacks, unclean instruments, people that just did not know what they were doing. Let me share a story that happened many years ago. It's a true story. In my neighborhood, there was this young girl that lived down the street from my family. I was about 10 or so. And she, I think, was about 13, maybe 14. Well, she got sick and nobody seemed to know why. My mom and I would visit sometimes once a week, sometimes, a little more time passed by, but we would visit, me and her. She was a beautiful young girl that was confined to a wheelchair after some time went on. I didn't really know what was happening. All I knew that she was getting sicker and sicker and more frail as time went on. And because I didn't understand what was going on, I was a little afraid that I would catch what she had. Now, this beautiful young girl just withered away slowly until she died. A few years later, her brother was talking to me. We were close in age and growing up together. We were in a lot of classes together. And I think maybe this was 3 years or so after his sister died. And he told me that their father would have sex with his sister and she got pregnant. And the mother took her to somebody to get rid of the baby. And his sister was never the same. She was taken to doctor after doctor, and nobody knew what to do. Yes, he told me that her father raped his sister time after time. I don't like abortions, but I also don't like the fact that women will have to go to quacks with unsterile surroundings and instruments. In my heart, I know that abortions are not a good thing. I know that in my heart, but there's always exceptions to the rule. What about the little girl down the street from her, from me, down the street from me, that was violated by her father, and because she couldn't just go to the hospital to get an abortion, I don't know where she went, but they did a botched job. She ended up dying. A slow, lingering death, painful death. She didn't just die immediately. She suffered for many years. Then she was confined to a wheelchair, and then she died. And I was always confused about that until her brother, which is deceased now himself, told me. So will we resort back to that? Will we resort back to the back alley quack doctors? Because I assure you, that law is not going to stop anyone who's desperate. It's just going to have them resort to situations that they normally wouldn't do. I have a lot of questions. I had a lot of questions as I grew older to ask them, but then we moved away and I never saw him again. But he must have overheard a lot of arguing and a lot of conversation that a 10-year-old should never hear. But more importantly, his sister endured some things that a lot of 13-year-olds shouldn't have to endure. So you're telling me that she had to go to a quack because abortions weren't legal, and she didn't even have a choice about that. She was taken there. So evidently, somebody thought that was the best idea. This little girl had no say about anything, and now she is dead. So, incest is not going to stop because you pass an abortion bill. It's not going to stop. Predators are going to be predators. Rapists are going to be rapists. And so, if a minor is taken to that back alley, she has no choices. I'm not saying abortion is right because I don't believe it is. However, there is always two sides to a coin. There are always exceptions to the rule. If that law goes through, more females, young and not so young, are going to perish. Because they're going to have to stay undercover, and a doctor is not going to expose himself to facing up to 99 years if he breaks the rules. So there's going to be quacks, people with little or no medical experience. They're going to fake that paperwork and perform abortions. That bill will not stop abortions, people. It will not. So I just wanted to bring you that story. I remember that clear as if it was yesterday, walking down the street, maybe a couple of short blocks down the street to visit. I remember her name, which I won't say. The family, I'm not sure if any of the family. I know the mom and the dad are deceased. I'm pretty sure about that. And my friend is deceased. There was another person. I won't say whether it's male or female. I think they are still alive, and that's why I don't want to name any names or get too specific because, I just wanted to tell this story to prove a point, but I'm not trying to put things out there for people to look at her crazy, because I don't think many people knew. I know after my friend told me, I told my mom what he told me, and I think I told my sister what was said, and she may or may not remember, but I don't think many people knew. So I'm just saying that bill is not going to correct anything. Whether you believe in abortions or not, it's not going to help anything. It won't. It won't. So that's all I got for right now. A little emotional because it brought back, I hadn't thought about that in years until this is all in the news about the Alabama abortion laws. And in other states, there's the heartbeat bill, I hadn't thought about it in years. I kind of just pushed it back in my memory until this came up, and it made me think of some very hurtful memories that I had as a 10-year-old. So I'm going to stop there. Thank you for listening. Think about what I've said. Share this video this podcast, with people who think they have all the answers about abortion. Share it so they consider that you don't have all the answers. It's always going to be people who are seeking for one reason or the other. And then some people just won't have the choice. Adults will make the choice for little young girls. So anyway, have a great evening, guys, and I'll be back with another story. And believe me, this is a true story that I thought about when all this was coming out. I thought about it, and I said, I have to tell my story. I have to tell the experience I have with someone I knew. So I'll end it here. Thank you guys for joining me, and have a good evening. Good night.